Hello, I'm Axel, and I'm here with Jibin.
What's up, guys?
So, Jibin, tell people who you are and what do you do.
So, what's up, guys? My name's Jibin. If anybody has seen any of the previous videos that I've done myself and also with Doc Testosterone, I go by Sir Symmetry, and currently I am a student at the Center for Neurosomatic Studies, it's called CNS. It's located here. We are in St. Pete right now. Clearwater is just 15-20 minutes away from here, and I am studying to become a neurosomatic therapist.
So, people might think neurosomatic science is something like out of this planet or something like that. Could you explain more about what it is and what you do over there?
So basically what we do is, and the things that I'm learning right now is we look at the body as a structure, as a whole, and I'm basically a structural therapist. If there are asymmetries going on in your body, the goal is to bring symmetry to your body, to have it functioning as well as possible as it can, and of course, the main thing is to relieve pain and also help with disease.
So, what are the most common issues that people, come in the clinic or day to day, came across, a lot of things, obviously. So, what are the most common things you see on everybody?
The top two main things that I see the most happening are headache/migraine issues and low back pain. Those are the top two biggest concerns that we get. More and more we're getting people with upper back pain, the thoracic region, and of course because we're becoming a generation of people who are always bent over, we're looking at our phones, our heads are always down. But for the most part, migraine, headaches, and low back pain are the top two issues that we personally deal with.
What do you think is the biggest reason for the cause besides holding the phone and the computer stuff? Are there any things that you see somebody already is born with that?
So when you say cause, what is the cause for what?
What is the cause for the headaches mostly, and the thoracic, spine curvatures or something like that? What causes it?
So first things first, let's start with
The headaches.
Let's start with the head, right?
Yeah.
The headaches. A lot of times when migraines, let's just take migraines for example.
Yeah.
People have massive migraines. We hear this complaint all the time, and the people who have migraines, literally what's going on is the blood flow that goes out of the head, the brain, the cranium, the blood that goes out is not getting out. So that's the big issue. And you have the venous system, and arteries, they have muscular contraction, right? So blood can be pumped to a place, but veins don't have that arterial pump, and so they don't get pumped out. The way arteries are moved and released are through movement. So now, if that blood flow isn't going out, is not leaving the head, people are going to have migraines. And those migraines lead to strokes, hemorrhages, and all these things that are really bad for you, right? The headaches and the headache is the first step, and then a migraine is the next step. And so, of course, the main reason is the symptom or the cause for the symptom is the blood is not leaving the brain. But the reason why the blood is not leaving the brain, that could be a number of issues. The most common is, of course, once again, we're getting back into the asymmetries of the body. So if someone's head is sheared like this, or if someone's head is very forward like this, or somebody has what we call military neck and their head's
straight.
stuck, and if any deviation is going on, another big thing that we look at in this whole area, this whole region, is your atlas, okay, which is your cervical one, your first vertebrae, and
In the spine, right?
yes, in the spine. And if The atlas is an amazing thing. It's why we're able to move our head and rotate our head and things. But it can also hurt you a lot too. If any time there is any kind of subluxation of the C1, there, because your veins run through your C1, and if any time there's any kind of rotation, if there's any kind of shearing movement, so from left to right, shearing is the most common, is what's going to give you the most problems if your C1 is sheared. And if there's any kind of shearing going on, that's like asking for it. That's most of the time when we see patients that have migraines, their C1 is out of place. And so that's one of the big causes for migraine headaches, because that basically those veins get really tight because they're out of place and that blood flow is not leaving. So that's one reason for the migraines. The low back pain, there's so many issues. One issue that I think, this is more of like a personal kind of opinion, theory. It's not scientifically proven or anything.
But what you have seen, like.
But just like if you take third world countries and stuff like that, I'm Indian and my parents are from India, and I've been to India, and when I went there, the toilets are on the ground.
Yeah.
We
like
as
a hole
humans,
in the.
exactly.
in the ground.
And I mean, of course, now times are changing. It's been a while, but still, there are plenty of homes that have toilets are in the ground, and you had to squat to poop.
Yeah.
Right. So you are given a full range of motion from birth, and people, if you're not using that full range of motion, you're not using the muscles. We naturally squat down to pick up things. If you ever look at a baby, or if you're gonna go take a shit out in the woods, right, you are going to squat down.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people are disabled to do that.
Yes.
Right. And they try to adjust that by squatting like a between squat, like another
like
real
a half
squat,
squat,
like a half squat,
uh-huh.
more so.
I think that I'm a big believer in that. There's no scientific proof to back that up. But also one thing that's really killing us is sitting. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if anyone else has heard anybody say this, but sitting is the new smoking, because it can kill you, right? This can also lead to this all ties in together, because if someone is sitting at a desk, I know you guys can't see us, but we're sitting with our legs crossed, quote unquote, what we call Indian
Shannon called
style.
it the Indian style.
Yeah,
right?
Indian style, that's what we were taught. And even people, they can't even get in this position, and they're not using the muscles, the ligaments, and so they're losing their flexibility and things like that, things of that nature. So that's holding them back and creating dis-ease and pain in the body.
Yeah. So another thing, like, let's turn this in a flow, sort of. A lot of people, there are believers who say you shouldn't squat low, right?
Yes.
And people like me, I don't see any reason why not. So, do you know where the concept comes from, and why do some people say that, and why should you squat low?
So, first things first, you train according to your goals. I think when it comes to squatting, me and AXEL and I, we have a similar philosophy, and that we should squat as low as we can get. And I think this started, there was some guy who came out with an article, or he published something saying how squatting is bad for your knees. And then I think that caused a phenomenon where you're not supposed to squat below parallel, and your knees aren't supposed to track over your toes, and some shit like that. And I think that has created a picture saying, oh, like, we're not supposed to squat, even though when you go and look, you're not supposed to squat low. Even though if you look at these third world countries, they are squatting low every day to use the bathroom, to go and pick. If people are in the fields, they're squatted low, deep, and then picking things. I think it has just kind of become taboo, especially in America. America is a big fitness, has a big impact on fitness and stuff like that. There's a lot of marketing and
a lot of fitness following.
yeah,
Fitness, right.
and so I think they have followed that saying that you're supposed to not squat low, and I think people have gained that misconception. Also, there are different kinds of squats. Let's say back squats, for example.
Yeah. Like a box squat.
Yeah, you have a box squat, and then you also
where you don't go to the bottom.
Yeah.
And you have like this motion.
And then you also have your high bar squat and your low bar squat. A high bar is more of in America what we call Olympic weightlifting squat, where the bar is placed at a higher position, and you squat all the way down. Whereas in a powerlifting squat, it's more like right on your scapulas, I believe. I'm not 100% sure how to do a low bar squat, but they don't go down very deep, right? It's more weight, but it's a different kind of squat, right? But they're not using their full range of motion. So that's why I believe in the full squat is you're pushing yourself to not only get stronger, but also create integrity in your joints, in your ligaments, and things like that. So not only are you looking for mobility, but also stability, you see? So, yeah.
So, from squatting down, some people like, in my eyes, I see like some people say you shouldn't squat low and stuff like that, but I see it like as a movement. You're moving your body low, either to pick up something or something like that. Because if you don't squat down, you might injure your back or something like that by pulling some heavy stuff from off the ground. But the thing is that some of it, I see like, why shouldn't you squat it? Because you're just moving your body, right?
Yeah.
So some people put limits in a way you shouldn't move.
Yeah.
So some people cannot do it, either they are not flexible enough or have other issues.
Yeah.
But in a that's like stretching or something like that. But you're a neurosomatic, like a specialist. How do you do the neurosomatic therapy? How does it happen, basically? So that can help somebody else, moving his body in.
Yes.
Right.
So the way that we try to do that, where we come in, and for anybody's body, is we try to bring symmetry to it by taking measurements and seeing what's off in the body. If there are any positions in the body that are off, let's say someone walks with their feet, one of their foot is like really sticking out, where this foot's straight and then one foot's the other way. Why is that foot going out like that? We try to figure out what's going on, because that can also affect your squat.
Yeah.
And also that can be a limiting factor in not only in your life, not only in working out, but also in your life too. So even if we can loosen up the musculature and have them running well to where they can do full depth squats and stuff like that, because the muscles are tight. More of the ligaments are basically the ones that are holding them in that position. So of course, stretching with that too will help, but getting out all those tight muscles and freeing them up so that you can move your body. So, yeah.
So, this is a lot has to do around the hip region and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. So, what would be for example, somebody that doesn't have the chance to have a neurosomatic guy or somebody like that to check up on him. What could he assess on himself, like make a self-assessment, or do some stretches or something, some cues from you?
Yeah. So two things,
Yeah.
right? The two things that I'm going to recommend is stretching and lacrosse ball.
Lacrosse ball.
Okay.
What do you mean by
And
lacrosse ball? Because
lacrosse
stretching is
ball.
more
Yes, everyone
knows
yeah. So
knows about
stretching,
something.
because the muscle itself is going to be tight, and we want to loosen it up. Now, and this also comes in with using a lacrosse ball too. You want to we're always taught like stretch same sides, right? We want balance, right?
Yeah.
But there already isn't balance in the body, right? If someone is right-handed, their right hand is going to be stronger than their left because they use it more, right?
Yeah.
So if you are stretching out two muscle groups or something and one side is tighter, focus more on that tight side.
Yeah.
Always focus on the tight side. People say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do like 60 seconds on each side, 30 seconds on each side.
Know your body, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Know your body. If one side is tighter, focus on that. A lacrosse ball. Now, a lacrosse ball, that's kind of like the next step after, like to get more specific in things. So let's say somebody has really tight hips, there's a lot of guides and stuff to show you how to use a lacrosse ball to loosen up. But the same way that you were using your, your foot up, you're loosening your foot up with that ball, right? So what you would do with the lacrosse ball, let's just say, like I was about to show my hip, but back up. But if I want to externally rotate my hip, put the ball under there, and then start rolling around, then I can get into my deep hip rotators, right? Which it'll be a little more difficult to get in there with with stretching and stuff like that, or hitting it with a foam roller or something.
So, that would help like for a lateral movement, right?
Any movement, right?
Any movement?
It's just all you're doing with the lacrosse ball is like basically self-massaging and getting out those knots so that you can get specific, right? Like if I'm getting my glute, right? But let's just say that it feels really tight, right? I move around and boom, there's like that one tiny muscle that's very tight.
Mm-hmm.
So with the lacrosse ball, you can get very specific in hitting that muscle. So lacrosse ball and stretching are the two things that I recommend. So.